Hello, everyone. Um, so I had the privilege of attending this year's Shepherd's Conference with Pastor Daniel, Jamie, Bill, Cecilia, Danny, Jason, Steph, Jess, Crystal, Johnny, Jay, and Jasmine. So all 12 of the shepherds who went with PD this year. So we're all sharing our testimonies, like PD mentioned. So I hope you guys don't find it too boring or tedious as we share our experiences and takeaways in the conference. Yeah, as we share our testimonies one by one. But I think some of the house church members here, my house church members may know already from Pastor Eric's Facebook photo that I really had an amazing time at the Shepherds Conference this year. Um, so similar to my experience from previous years, Shepherds Conference, this year's conference was extremely helpful, encouraging, motivating, physically tiring, yet spiritually rejuvenating. The conference helped me to really self-reflect, repent, and see many areas in which I was lacking as a shepherd. So it was honestly pretty embarrassing and discouraging at times, realizing how little spiritual growth I've experienced for myself personally in the last 4 years of shepherding, as well as realizing how much I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do for my members as a shepherd. So, um, but yeah, I genuinely do also think it was largely due to having Steph as a co-shep all those years, with her having to carry me in every aspect of house church while we were serving as co-shepherds. I actually did share with my small group at the conference, like during our introduction, that I was like pretty much a 5-month-old shepherd since I really didn't start actual shepherding until we multiplied in March. So Steph, thank you. Yeah, so Steph, thank you again for, I keep on losing. Thank you for doing everything for me and letting me take the credit from you for the past 3.5 years. And I'm sure you guys know she has really bad joint problems. So her knees like pop every time she bends her knees. But I'm pretty sure her carrying me on her back as a coach probably didn't help at all. But in all seriousness, the conference really did help me to realize how much I have been kind of taking advantage of Steph as a co-ship. So I felt really sorry for Steph. So Um, one other thing that I kind of learned and really repented at the conference was that I've never been really a good example to others at church, especially to my house church members. So I like personally look up to a lot of great examples at our church, like PD obviously, but Sean, Bill, Danny, and Jason. And I know none of them are like perfect shepherds. Jesus Christ is really the only perfect shepherd to us all, but I think each one of them do display their own unique Christ-like character that I think we can all learn from. So, for example, I think Sean displays some of the deepest love for his conscious members. And I think Phil displays wisdom and speaking in truth like no other. And I think Danny exemplifies through discipline and consistency. And I think Jason displays God's humility and patience. And I know they're just not limited to those qualities, but those are just definitely some of the qualities that I want to imitate and learn from. But when I think about the examples I've shown to some church members or to my house members, I think a lot of those examples were kind of shameful and sinful to say the least. And so I'm sorry for everyone or to everyone, um, especially those who know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, but if I were to share one of the takeaways from this year's conference, it was that it's important to really evaluate the purpose of what we do and like the motivation behind our ministries. So Pastor Daniel was one of the speakers. So he gave a sermon to all 200 plus shepherds at the conference. But during his sermon, he challenged all shepherds to think about why they first wanted or like stepped up to become shepherds. So maybe like they were asked by their pastors. Maybe they saw like a need with house church um, multiplication coming up, or maybe they like for especially for shepherds' wives, like maybe they were just married into it, etc. But Pastor Daniel really challenged us to all think about why we all wanted to become shepherds in the first place. So I reflected on the day when I first thought about wanting to become a shepherd, and that was October 7th of 2017 at New Life's Lee Leader Seminar. Kind of had a unique experience of accepting Christ the week before, like on October 1st of 2017, and then going to Houston with Danny and Cecilia to attend the Lee Leader Seminar. So I was obviously like pretty fired up spiritually back then as like a baby Christian, and I was also like learning what house church really was all about at the same time. So I ultimately learned from the leader seminar at the time that serving the house church ministry and especially as a shepherd was pretty much like the ultimate way of serving God and seeking the heavenly reward. But I also got to experience visiting my hosting shepherd's house church, Bao Win, and which was like his house church was really diverse at the time. So I also had the dream and goal of becoming a shepherd of a very multi-ethnic house church that day. So time went on, and by grace of God, I was first given the opportunity to become a shepherd with Steph on November 22nd of 2020. And like now you would think that the person who's been wanting to become a shepherd for 3 years would take ownership and do their job well. But unfortunately for me, that wasn't really the case. So I used busyness as an excuse to always do the bare minimum in shepherding ministry for almost 3.5 years until God gave me the second opportunity with multiplication on March 24th of 2024. So for me, definitely reflecting on my passion of house church ministry and passion for serving back then to now is very different, which is like a little discouraging for sure. But through this conference, I was able to reflect on that heart that I had back then and see if I can get that heart like fire back up. So I am very sorry for especially to my past, but also present house church members, and I'll try my best in not losing sight of my first love for God and for His kingdom and for this house church ministry. But and just lastly, another takeaway was that that we ANF, we are so blessed to have Pastor Daniel as our senior pastor of our congregation. So Pastor Daniel, he was awesome in his sermon. Like he was really good. Not that you aren't usually, but you were exceptionally good. His sermon was super funny, like very clear, full of wisdom. It was very personable and relatable, and it was also very biblical. And I'm not even trying to be like biased, but like I genuinely think a lot of people at the conference really enjoyed and appreciated Pastor Daniel's sermon. So even like my small group members, after we like the sermon, like a breakout session, and they all kind of shared about like how funny Pastor Daniel was. Did he always like that? I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, just aside from the sermon message, so all the pastors were also the volunteers during the conference. So like every time we had meals, they were the ones setting up the tables, um, cleaning the tables afterwards, or serving us drinks, and washing the dishes afterwards, and just many more that I don't even know about. And one of the shepherds in my small group shared how it felt really weird for him to see his pastor doing like all the dirty work. And he said he felt like it really weird about his pastor like serving him. But honestly, I didn't feel what that other shepherd was feeling. No, but because like I was so used to seeing Pastor Daniel serve our church so actively and doing all the I also used to seeing Pastor Daniel serve our church so actively and doing all the dirty work for us all the time. So even though the idea of pastors serving our lunch tables was supposed to be like a humbling experience for us all, but I really had the opposite, like the audacity to feel that I was used to seeing things like this from him. And I had lots of feelings of guilt and shame, I guess. So it was definitely a huge wake up call for me personally, and I hope everyone in ANF doesn't. I hope not everyone in the ANF is not this like disrespectful and they're thinking of Pastor Daniel like me. But I do often like forget how privileged we are to have Pastor Daniel as our senior pastor. I know there are many great pastors out there, but no one really loves us like Pastor Daniel loves us, and no one prays for us like Pastor Daniel prays for us. So, sorry, Pastor Daniel. I hope I can do more of the dirty work for you moving forward. But yeah, in short, I was just truly grateful for the experience of attending Shepherd's Conference again this year. It's my goal and dream that I would be able to just attend this conference with some of my house members in the near future. Thank you.